Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And we are, this is it. This episode comes out the week of FanX. So we are this week going to FanX and we're going to see each other and we're going to see lots of people. And hopefully everybody that's watching this or listening to it will see you. I mean, you know, if you're in town, I understand.
What else
And
are you
this
going
is
to
the
do?
thing.
Come on.
Yeah,
this is
true.
what I have to say, though. We're all going to be in masks.
Yep.
So when you see us, be like, hey, Val, it's Joe. So I know who you are.
Yes.
Unless your name's not Joe. And then don't say that.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
otherwise
because that'll
it's
just be
gonna be
confusing.
Yeah. Wow, we met so many Joes today. This was weird.
I'm hoping that I will remember this for when I see you the first time at FanX, Val. I'm like, hey, Val, it's Joe.
Joe. Hey, Joe. How's it going, Joe? Hey.
Yeah, it's going to be a different experience for sure, but I think it's going to be a really good experience, and I'm glad that everyone is taking into account safety and health precautions. I mean, the ultimate safety and health precaution would be to not have it, but I think we need it, and so I'm all for it. For my own personal mental health, I'm all for FanX happening.
Yeah,
So.
this is the first FanX that I'm not actually doing any photos, but I kind of wish that I was, because most of the celebrities are going to have the plexiglass, which I think
you want that moment.
But I kind of do, because it's like
Yeah.
you can look back and be like, oh my gosh, you remember what this was like at this time.
Go get one with Adam Savage. He's awesome.
Yeah, Adam Savage is pretty cool. You like Doctor Who? Get one with Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, he's not one of my favorite doctors. He's good, but
Well, he's not one of my favorite doctors either.
I loved him in The Leftovers, though. The HBO series The Leftovers was
well, and great. I mean, Thor: The Dark World is a masterpiece, obviously. So.
Is it though?
No.
Is it
though? Yeah, I don't even. Anyway, I'm excited that he's going to be there, just because I do like Doctor Who, and our friend Craig Price gets to moderate that one, and I think he's really excited about it. Yeah, he's going to have British shoes on, which doesn't seem pandering at all. I'm sure they'll all appreciate it. Love you, Craig.
Love you.
And you got to come to. I'm going to need all the help I can get. You need to come to the cast-off panel, because we are recasting Glengarry Glen Ross, which I think is an interesting choice of a movie for a pop culture convention.
I agree with that 100%, maybe 110%.
But
so
we're
weird.
Recasting with the Muppets, and I'm going against my brother. And I learned not only are we supposed to do voices, but my brother is actually bringing Muppet characters to perform with. So
is that legal? Is that in the rules?
This is within the rules. So
it's in the bylaws.
I mean, I will help you as much as I can, Tracy. But here's the thing: I've never seen Glengarry Glen Ross. I'll be honest. Until Craig started asking for people to talk about it on Matinee Heroes for October, I'd never heard of Glengarry Glen Ross. So,
you're going to be just like every audience member that'll be voting.
I feel
it's going to come down to
and so
who entertains the crowd, and he's a better entertainer. So
I think you're in a lot of trouble. He's a better entertainer if he's bringing actual Muppets and doing voices.
Yeah, we had quite the text gift discussion going back and forth about me complaining about how it's not fair.
Wow, the cast of this movie: Kevin Spacey, Alan Arkin, Ed Harris, Alec Baldwin, Jack Lemmon, Al Pacino.
Right.
Did they grab all the old white guys and put them in this movie?
I think so.
I think this movie should just be called Old White Guys.
Which is why I think it makes it such a great draw for a pop culture convention.
Oh, wait. No, there's a police officer who is of color, and a coat check. A coat check is a person of color. Two people.
And they eat at an Asian restaurant.
Okay.
So, Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not helping it. You're not helping it at all. This isn't.
It's a good movie. It is a good movie, but
I'm sure that it is, and
it's very toxic masculinity, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to watch it. I just had to go look at the cast.
90s toxic masculinity. Yeah.
Well,
why was this his choice?
I don't know. This is the thing that has made no sense to me since he announced what he was doing.
I thought we'd do like the Avengers or
just go with the 80s. Like it's this whole like, you know, like all of the artwork is like this 80s kind of stuff. So I thought he would choose like some nerdy 80s movie.
I don't know. The other group got Doctor Who, which is still difficult, but not as
well. Doctor Who's interesting because they recast Doctor Who all the time.
Right.
So that one's not.
So
this one's interesting, and I get that he wanted to do something with the Muppets that you wouldn't normally see the Muppets in that role, but I just feel like this would be a great episode for Cast Off and just an interesting choice for Fan X.
We love you, Craig.
We do. That's why I'm questioning your life choices, Craig, because I love you. I'm concerned. Val taught us in the last episode that we shouldn't just let our friends make mistakes. We need to say something. So
that's a good point.
I'm passively aggressively saying something on my podcast to you, Craig.
And in the 80s, Jake, we learned that knowing is half the battle.
That's true.
So this again ties in with the 80s.
Yeah.
So I do feel bad for Val, though. I mean, you still have that sunburn. I mean, it's been a week.
And it's just as red as it was last time. But we didn't want you to feel bad, so we also wore the same shirts, so it would look like we had all planned this.
I just like that that's when you know it's super bad.
That looks so painful.
It leaves indentations. That's not good.
I don't think I've had a sunburn this bad in my life. And it doesn't hurt as bad as it looks, but I feel just stupid and irresponsible because you should always wear sunscreen. I'm usually really great about it.
Well, you wore sunscreen. You just
everywhere else.
Of you. Yeah.
I'm like, cover my arms, my face. I had a hat on.
My big floppy hat. Yeah.
No, I had a cool hat, not a big floppy one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I am jealous though because you were up at Oktoberfest. Not jealous. That's not the right word. I'm always excited when my friends get to go do cool stuff that I always wanted to do that I haven't done yet this year. Like I just get excited for them.
German guy, come on.
I know.
I usually don't go this early in the game for Oktoberfest. I usually like to go like the second to last week because there's less people there. But we had Dave's best man, who was his best friend, was in town. And so we took him up there and it was a really nice day. We watched the mustache and beard competition, had some good food and came home when it was just super crazy. So many people, not a good
I'm sure
weekend to go. So, but I mean, it was fun, but like, it was a lot of people.
Gotcha.
Anytime you get to eat German food, it's just an exciting thing.
Oh yeah.
Me.
I gained 3 pounds yesterday.
Yeah.
I gained 1.5 pounds just from your photos.
I have to be good all week though, because I am going to Disneyland on Sunday and I'm going to eat my way through that place. Like
I am so excited to live vicariously.
Consume all the sugar.
Yeah. That's another thing that I'm excited and not jealous for you for. So that's,
I'll be there for a day and I'm going to suck it all up.
Yeah. And this is such a great time to go to Disneyland because they've got all the Halloween stuff out and it's just so much fun.
Well, that's why we're going. We're promoting. We're going to be doing a live broadcast there in the morning before the park opens on Monday morning. So we get there Sunday, live broadcast Monday morning. And our good friend John Smith, who works for a different radio station, who is also a big Disney person that's going to be on one of our panels, Tracy, he's going to be there at the same time. John and I have never been to Disneyland together. We went to high school together. We've been in radio, like opposite radios together for a long time. And we're both huge Disney fanatics who always get put on the Disney panels together. So this is going to be really fun if we actually get to hang out in Disneyland together. So it'll be fun.
Do you fly back Monday
afternoon? Yeah, Monday afternoon. So I'll be there all day Sunday to experience it.
Okay.
And then Monday I'll talk about it while we're on the air. And then I'll do a couple more things before our flight that afternoon.
Okay, at least you get a full day. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we fly in. Our flight's at like 7. So we'll probably get there around 10 or 11 and just do the whole day. Mike, my morning show partner, I don't think he's ready for this.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That's probably
like
true.
Jake and I would be fine. We'd just like go. It would be awesome. But
I don't think he's ready to experience Disneyland with me.
I think the three of us, each of us, we have that extra Disneyland speed gear that we can get into. Not everybody does, though.
No.
So yeah, I think
I'll take it easy on him. If he needs to take a break, I'll let him, and I'll go do some things while he sits there like an old guy.
Splash Mountain for Ty.
Yeah. Well, Ty is going to be going to Disneyland 2 weeks after I'm there.
That's right.
So don't do anything for him then. Just do it all for us. If he's going 2 weeks after you, don't dedicate any of it to him.
And Val, any of the food that you want to like bring back and carry on, and Jake and I be happy.
Is there something that you guys that would last that you want me to bring back? I know that the cookies and the Rice Krispie treats last, and I was going to plan on bringing some of those back.
Apples. There's
I'll see what I can do. I will see what I can do.
Fairly close to each other, I'm just
all right. If you have requests,
Edge and text me those little Coke detonator bottles.
You did. Yes. If you have requests, let me know and I will grab some things and bring them back for you.
I just want an ice cream sundae. If you could bring that back. No, that's not going to last. A Dole Whip. Yeah, if you bring a Dole Whip back, that'd be great.
I'm just carrying it the whole time as it's like drizzling down my hand.
Here you go, Jake. Perfect. It's all melty, just like I like it.
It's a Dole Whip shooter.
Ew.
It is all very exciting. Like I am excited that you get to go, and I'm excited to see your pictures and experience it through you, because it is really a magical, fun time to go. And I think
it's a short week at work, and you get to go to Disneyland at the end of it. That's a good week. That's a good week right there.
And then when you get back, you get to go to FanX. So I mean, you want to talk about a dream week? That would be pretty close. So
you're living the life, my friend.
I'm super excited. I'm very lucky, and I understand that.
The only thing that would make it better is if the Sunday they like took you and like you got to get on all the rides and skip the lines and stuff. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
No comment.
Not having to get a waiting list for the Spider-Man ride, that would be pretty sweet.
Oh man. Are you going to go on the Spider-Man ride, Val?
Of course she is.
Of course. And it's going to be awesome.
She's not going to miss. She is not going out to Disneyland and not riding the Spider-Man track.
Of course not. And here's the thing. I would ask you to ride that one for me, but no, you have to ride that one for you. That's just 100% for you.
I'll ride it for us.
Ride Thunder Mountain for me.
Yeah. I mean, I have to ride that at least 2 times. I love Big
You got to do it at night because it's a different.
We usually would go during the fireworks and we'd ride it as many times as we can. Mm-hmm. 9 is that's the number that we have to beat.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
9 in a row.
My record is 7, so well done.
When you hit 8 and 9, at that point, you don't even know what's happening to you. Because when we did 9, the guy just realized we kept coming back, and he's like, "You can just stay on." So we didn't get like from 7, 8 to 9. We didn't get the break
off and take the loop.
Get off, and so you're just. I mean, I felt high at that point, and my mother-in-law Tana. On the last one, I think she was so out of it, and I was sitting on the outside, and so we're going around, and she puts her hands up and slides in, and it's like slow motion as I'm like, ooh, like being crushed, because we were just like out of it by that point. It was awesome. Anywho, we're going to talk about Princess Bride today.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you know what would have been a great choice to recast with Muppets? The Princess Bride would have been a great choice for FanX, because everybody, I think there's a lot of people at FanX that love Princess Bride and love the Muppets. I mean, if you were trying to get people to come to your panel, that would be a great choice.
He doesn't want people there. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Craig, we love you again. This is all from love.
We love you so much.
Down.
Yeah,
come on in.
he's going to listen to this show and it's going to be the first thing he says to me.
I'll bring him back something from Disneyland. I'll bring him a treat.
He's not going to, he lives like right by Disneyland.
So, would you turn down a treat?
No, I would never turn down a treat.
I don't care if you live next door to Hatch Family Chocolates. If I buy you Hatch Family Chocolates, you're going to eat it because it's delicious.
I mean,
this is true.
Do I look like a guy who hasn't eaten chocolates that have been given to him ever? No, of course not.
You broke Val. Should we start over? Do you want to start this episode over?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake. Yeah, see, we can... Anyway, so let's talk about The Princess Bride.
Marriage is what brings us together today.
We talked about last week in the Karate Kid episode about how there's a lot of quotes from that movie that you can do.
Yeah.
This one is probably the most quotable movie I can think of.
It's hard to think of one that's more quotable than this one, or that's been more quoted for sure.
Yeah, that and Three Amigos. Those two are just top tier. I mean, there's so many great moments. And it's a good book too. If you go back, I actually have read the William Goldsmith book, or Golding. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Goldsmith.
The thing that I love about the book, and I'm glad you brought up the book, is that it does feel, the dialogue is very similar in feel and cadence to what you get in the movie. And a big part of that is because the author of the book did the screenplay for the movie. And so it all works together really, really well. There are some parts in the book that aren't in the movie. Like you get a little bit deeper into Fezzik's past and things like that. But really from the get-go, it feels very similar to the movie, similar to the story that Grandpa is sitting down and reading to his grandson, which, by the way, I think is one of the most brilliant ways that anybody's introduced a movie like this.
Yeah.
And I love it. I quote the Grandpa all the time with the, like, let's see, where were we? Let's see. Ah, yes, the pit of despair. And like just moments like that you can, and the kid, Fred Savage was such a great child actor, and he's still a good actor. I'm not saying he's not, but like he was so good as a kid, and most kids are not great actors, and he just always does such a great job. And in this, is this a kissing book? Like he gets so upset at his grandpa, but you can tell there's a genuine love there between grandson and grandpa. But like, that's how all of us are with our grandparents when we're that age. Like, oh my gosh, he's so old and lame, but fine, I'll sit and listen to your story. But secretly, I'm loving every minute of this attention that I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
Well, and you look at this cast lineup. You got Carrie Oles, Mandy Patinkin, Robin Wright, Wallace Shawn, Billy Crystal, Carol Kane, Andre the Giant, Christopher Guest, Fred Savage, Peter Falk. Come on.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Peter Falk. Like, when I was younger, when this came out and I was younger, I watched him on TV every week, right? And it was weird because I was like a young girl watching this, like, old mystery kind of show.
Detective guy,
Yeah, detective. But I loved it. There's just something about him that just pulls you in. Again, he had the same thing as Mr. Miyagi, just as an actor, where he gives you time to think about what he's doing, what he's saying, and what's going to come. And so watching him on TV and then seeing that he's in this movie, and of course we were watching Fred Savage on TV every week, right?
Right.
And so now they're both in this movie together, and it was such a good connection. The rhythm that they had back and forth with each other was just so great. And I can't get over his eyebrows. Like I watch it and I just kind of want to be like this. Like, I just want to get.
I love that.
I want to get in there to the eyebrows because they have their own story, by the way. I am not a peeping Tom, by the way.
Those are your movie watching binoculars for when you need to get a closer look at something on the movie.
For astronomy.
When we discuss Rear Window, she's going to pull those out.
Yeah, it'll be good.
No, it's for, I got those, I have 2 pair, one for me, and I bought some for Sammy for astronomy because we like looking at planets and stars.
I thought you were going to say bird watching, but planets and stars.
I have yet to actually go bird watching on purpose, but it is on my list to do. I have gone to parks and forests and hiking, and I do stop and look at the birds that are there, but I've never purposefully left my house to go find birds, except for like at the aviary or the zoo. But it's on my list. It's on my list of things to do. Don't be disappointed in me. It's on there.
No.
But no, I love.
If you could fit that in with everything else that you're doing, Val. I mean, seriously.
I mean,
could you just stop being a slacker, please?
You've got to watch and plan a wedding, and I mean, please.
But no, I just love their chemistry so much.
Yeah.
And I love, because usually if you have a movie that keeps going back and forth, like it gets you into something and then you go back to a different scene, like you kind of lose the momentum of what you're doing. It takes you out of that moment. And in Princess Bride, you don't get that. No. Like they do such a great job of going back and forth from scene to the book, to him, to his grandpa. And it's just this rhythm that I don't think I've seen in any other movie.
No, it is unmatched. I think you're absolutely right. And it is true. Like it breaks the story up really well. Like it does give you the breaks when you need it, and it doesn't take you out of it. And I think that's just brilliant. I mean, when he stops as she's in the eel infested waters and he's like, she doesn't die here. Like it is building up to this intense moment, and him just breaking in and saying, well, you look concerned, so I want you to know she doesn't die here. He's like, no. Like he's still trying to play it cool at this point. No, I don't care what happens to her. Yeah, but like, but it just breaks it up so well. And normally that's a big risk to do something like that. Cause normally, like you said, Val, it would take you completely out of the movie and you're like, oh, now I got to get back into the story mode. But this just works so well because that's how a grandpa would be reading that book to his grandson.
Yeah. They do a similar thing in like the Neverending Story, which I also think is very successful. And these came out around the same time, I think, right?
It's in the same,
Yeah. But I do think that this movie is one of those movies that I know grown men who love this movie. I know grown women, teenage girls, younger guys that like this movie, grandparents that, I just think it surpasses kind of what it was made for. Because it doesn't happen very often that you have a movie or a story or a book or whatever that really does hit every audience.
Yeah.
Usually you make it for a specific, women from 25 to 45 and, that's your audience and that's who you'll always have people outside of it that like it. But this one, I don't think they expected it to be so wide in the fandom.
This is the type of family film that we always talk about we want to see, and they have a hard time making it. And I think it's just for that reason, Val. It's because you've got to cover so many different ages. Like a grandparent could sit down with their grandchild and watch this and still be entertained.
Yeah.
And it's not full of like silly poop jokes or, fart jokes and stuff like that.
Damn it.
But it's
and those are great and they have their place for sure.
Just one would have been fine.
Yeah. But
to be able to have a story that's as engaging, and Pixar is really good at this, but I think it's so difficult to do, is to be able to entertain the kids and keep their attention and yet not dumb it down for the adults.
Yeah. And in this movie, I mean, it really does. It transcends any kind of, what genre do you put this movie in? It's fantasy. Yeah. Okay. Romance. Yeah. It's got that. Action, comedy. Like it does really have everything. It really does. I mean, there's nobody that I would say, hey, have you ever seen Princess Bride? You would love it. And I would be confident to say that to anybody. Almost.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that don't like this movie. I just,
I mean,
there's just, it just seems very, very popular.
Did you guys see some of the celebrities that did like TikTok video segments of Princess Bride during COVID lockdown last year?
That was
great. Jack Black was phenomenal.
Yeah. I have to say that yes, Wesley and Buttercup, Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright are great in this movie, but they're not my favorite. I love this movie so much. You guys know how much I love side characters. Like that's what any Disney or Pixar movie or Marvel movie that has good side characters. I just love it when a movie or a story puts that much into the people that are helping move the story forward that aren't just the main characters. And I mean, Inigo Montoya is such a great character.
Yeah.
And I love Mandy. I just love him. I love his face. I love his acting. I love just the way that he carried himself. Like, I almost was like, yeah, Carrie Elwes's character is cool, but I kind of want to be Inigo Montoya, right? And then you have, Vicini, who Wallace Shawn,
so good.
I mean, they're so just to good. Get that, that speech impediment, that lisp, but also to be just this like crazy, manic energy. And then Billy Crystal. I mean, I could watch the movie just for Billy Crystal.
But Billy then you had Gerald Kane as his
wife.
Oh my gosh. Like those two together.
I want to see the outtakes. Like, how much footage did we not see of them? Because I'm sure if the director was smart, he would have just let them kind of take it into their own, because they have this back and forth banter as comedians that I'm sure there's stuff we haven't seen that is just amazing. Just amazing.
Their back and forth is just so good. Just, liar! Quiet, witch. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. And after what you just said, I'm not sure I want to be that anymore. Like, when he's talking about true love, he's like, there's nothing better in the world than true love, except a thinly sliced slice of mutton or whatever it is. And he said, and it's like just paper thin, and he's like describing it, and it's just so good. I mean, you talk about two characters that are on the screen for such a little amount of time, but they make such a huge impact, and you remember, and they stand out so well. And what's amazing is they stand out so much in a movie full of scenes that stand out.
Yeah, and there's so many. Like, one of my favorite scenes is when Wesley is fighting Inigo, and they have this really cool, old school, sword fight, and then they're also trying to like mind manipulate each other at the same time, and he's like, and you won't know that I am also left-handed, and I'm a lefty, so I was like, yeah, take it. Like, I don't know. I was just like, that was such a great scene, and he's like, do you need a minute? Like giving him a minute, kind of, he's climbing up the rocks and everything. I just thought, it was just really fun. It had such good timing and comedy, but also at the same time it was romantic, but not like overly romantic. And it does such a good job with the side stories too, because you've got, the main story, right, is Wesley coming back to Buttercup, and she's marrying the prince, and he's trying to get there before she's going to do that, and inadvertently rescues her from these kidnappers that are trying to start a war, because that's what Prince Humperdinck wants, is to start a war with Gilder. And then you've got the side story of Inigo Montoya, who's after the Six-Fingered Man, who also happens to be working with Prince Humperdinck, and like all of these things, and you could get lost in all of these different side stories, but they wrap them together so well, and it just works. It just totally works. And I love Inigo Montoya. And I know I brought this up last week, I'm going to bring it up again. TikTok. Mandy Patinkin's actually very active on TikTok, and he's posting stuff on there all the time. And there was somebody that shared how much his character Inigo Montoya had meant to her father, and her father had recently passed away, and she talked about how she had heard that when he was facing off against the Six-Fingered Man in the film, and he was going to kill the Six-Fingered Man, that he had pictured that was the cancer that had killed his father. And she said, I had heard that, and I don't know if that's true. And so he responded on TikTok to her and let her know that was 100% true, that he felt like if he could kill the Six-Fingered Man in this character, that was defeating the cancer that had killed his father, and he would be avenging his father's death. And it was just a really kind of tender moment that you don't get to see all the time online. Yeah. So but he's such a cool guy.
I was going to mock you for the TikTok reference, but I can't.
Yeah. I had to get the story out quick so that you wouldn't, because I felt you would feel really bad if you had at the end.
Mentally, I was dismissing it, but then I got caught up in the story, and well done.
Yeah. But he's just really cool on there. And so if you are on TikTok and you want to avoid like the dances and the trends and whatever, follow Mandy Patinkin because he's really funny on there.
Nice. I love it. Love it.
Well, and the other character we haven't talked about yet that I absolutely love in this film is Andre the Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Fezzik.
This is a guy, he was in a lot of pain because he never stopped growing. Like literally, he never stopped growing his entire life. And this is a guy who has been wrestling for all these years. He's got degenerative back issues. And he knew that he was ill and not doing well, but he still wanted to do this movie. And he brings such warmth and gentleness to this role that I just think is astounding.
Yeah, it's really weird because I grew up liking wrestling and I grew up following wrestling, but Andre the Giant as a wrestler was before my time. I mean, he really was. He had kind of stopped by the time I remember following wrestling. And so my first introduction to him was in this movie.
Oh, okay.
And so it was really hard for me to find out that like most of his career was spent as a heel.
Right.
Like he was the bad guy. And like, it was just so hard to picture him that way because he is such a gentle giant in this movie. And I think in real life, he was very much like that as well.
Very much so. There's some interesting documentaries about him. That guy had a very interesting life, and he could put down the wine. Like he would drink like 18 bottles of wine at dinner and be fine the next day because that's how his metabolism worked. It's crazy.
Well, and when he was younger in wrestling, he was much more athletic. Obviously, like you mentioned, the age, and so some of the stuff that he would do that just tears your body apart as well.
Oh, yeah.
So on top of everything else, but he is so good in this movie.
Well, and back to the wrestling. One of my earliest wrestling memories, because I'm with you, I grew up on it. I don't follow it as much now, but when Hulk Hogan body slammed him, here's a guy who it's the tail end of his career. He is pretty much done. He can't move very well, and to allow a guy to body slam you and take the spotlight from you and to become the next big thing, that says a lot about his character. Because I saw this documentary and they were talking to Vince McMahon, who of course was the headmaster of all this back in the day and still is, but he said, if Andre the Giant didn't want to be body slammed, you weren't going to body slam him. Like, you can't do it without him helping you. And the fact that he allowed that to happen says a lot about his character.
Yeah. And he did that to get Hulk Hogan over with the fans, and it worked really well. And of course, Hulk Hogan repaid that later in his career by never helping any young star get over.
What about Zeus? What about Zeus?
Nothing. Zeus. Oh my gosh. All right. But this is not a wrestling podcast, and so we'll move on from the wrestling stuff. What about Zeus? Oh my god!
That's a deep cut. I'm kind of impressed that I pulled that one out of the old noggin.
Yeah.
I'm just over here not knowing anything you guys are talking about. I really liked him in the movie. I think by the time you got halfway through the movie, you all wanted to be friends with him. Like that's how we all felt. Like we all wanted to be friends with him. We wanted to hang out with him. We wanted him to succeed. We wanted him to get away from like this bad, guy, thing. Like get away from them. You don't need that.
Yeah. Well, and when he goes and he finds Inigo and he's drunk in the bar and he, basically sobers him up and everything. And just how much he loves and cares for him is like, you can tell he's just a genuinely nice giant, this Fezzik guy. And he just really cares about Inigo's his friend. And you see that in the beginning when they're doing the rhyming, which is one of my favorite scenes. And he's like thinking of different ways to rhyme the words. And Vicini, no more rhyming. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? I love it. And I the scene with him that always stands out too is when he is being the Dread Pirate Roberts and he's getting the key and they're lighting the cloak on fire and he's like, I am coming for your soul. Like just with his deep voice and his accent it's very menacing, but like
at the same time, not.
But you're not scared because that's just Fezzik. Yeah. I can see why they're terrified because they don't know him, but we know him at this point, and he's just Fezzik. It's fine.
And when
he brings the horses, sorry, one more, when he brings the horses and he's like, and I thought they're, there's 4 of us. If we find the lady, hello, lady. You just love him. Yeah, I love Fezzik in this.
I love the guy who's in the dungeon.
Yes, the albino guy.
Oh my gosh, like what a great character. Like he's not there for very long, but is so memorable and so specific. And I don't know, when he talks, like you just kind of, it makes you feel things. You don't know if you like it or not, but it's interesting. But there's a lot of noises when he talks, like you can hear saliva.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on with this character. And again, it's those little details that all these actors put in their characters that I just love so much.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that the lines have become even more applicable today. Like when he says about masks, oh, they're terribly comfortable. I think everyone in the future will be wearing them. And here we are all wearing them because they're just so comfortable. Anyway, sorry, I took us way off track. I'm sorry. But
that's weird because we never do that.
I know.
We don't do that at all. All of last episode.
Yeah.
And which is really weird because we really like Karate Kid. I don't know why we didn't talk more about it, but we just...
Sometimes I think that we just don't get to see each other very often, that we just get so involved with talking to each other about things. Like we really just need a podcast where we just talk about nothing. Like we need a Seinfeld podcast like once a month where we just get on and we just let it all out. Like we just talk about whatever.
This is our show about nothing.
Enjoy.
Number 5. Enjoy. So anyway, but yeah, this was a movie that I grew up on. When I watched it for the show, I was kind of doing other things and just had it playing in the background because I've seen it so many times that I didn't need to sit. I mean, I don't mind sitting and watching it. Like if it's on, it can be on at any point in the movie and I'm like instantly in because I know what's happened. I know right where we're at and I know right where it's going. And it's just, it's just such a fabric of my life. Like it's just always been there for me.
Yeah.
And it's hard to think of a time when there wasn't Princess Bride in my life.
It's just such a clever film. I mean, the whole poison cup scene is just so classic. Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of the Danny Kaye movie, The Court Jester, with the vessel with the pestle is the brew that is true. You know, it's that kind of thing where he's like, so I know that you would think that I would place it in front of me because then you would think that I would be the one to take the drink. But that means that I need to switch the drinks. Okay.
Well, and I love it. And clearly you have a dizzying intellect. Just wait till I get started.
He's so great. Like I couldn't picture anybody else in that role. I wouldn't want to see anyone else in that role.
Right.
I do think the one thing that would be hard for him is in the book, the character is supposed to be a hunchback. And then when they cast him, they didn't make him a hunchback. And so I would constantly be thinking, is it that I'm just so goofy looking on my own that they were like, we don't really need the hump? I don't know. Or did they just feel like it didn't work on screen and so they just dropped it? I think that's probably more likely what it was. But anyway, wow. I'm going to see how many people last week it was Marty Cove. This week it's Wallace Shaw. Like, we'll just see how many people I can insult. Fortunately, he's not coming to Fan X, so it's
Send
fine.
your complaints to podcast@moviesthatmakeus.com.
Attention, Jake.
Attention, Jake. Perfect.
He did come to Fan X once, though.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I got my my T-Rex Pixar picture from him, so that was fun.
He is a really talented, fun actor, but I'll be honest, anytime I see him pop up somewhere, I'm always like, it's Vicini from Princess Bride. Because that's who he plays a lot of teachers. I've noticed that he ends up being a teacher or a principal or something like that in a lot of shows that he does. But anyway, He's a good actor. I like him.
Yeah, I do.
Not goofy looking at all. Doesn't look like a hunchback at all, or goofier than anyway.
What about now that I'm older, I got to say, I appreciate the life sucking machine more than I did when I was
yeah.
There are times where you like finish up a week at work and you're like, that just took a week off, that just took a year off my life right there.
Yeah. I feel like being the president of the United States is basically just sleeping in a life sucking machine. Because you go in looking super cute and you come out not so cute.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the time. Sometimes you go in not super cute and come out even less super cute.
Just saying it ages you.
Oh
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm just saying some of our presidents recently were not cute to begin with.
Yeah, you look at the photos of Obama when he first came in. He's got full black hair.
Yeah,
and then like pictures from like 2 years later, it's like mostly gray, and then when he leaves, it's completely white.
Yeah. But he's still a good looking guy. But yeah, it sucked the life out of him.
It takes a toll. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the life sucking machine in real life. That's true.
Yeah. Anytime you have to go to the DMV.
That takes a year off your life.
Yep.
Anytime you have to sit through a dance recital when your kid only has one dance, but there's 50 numbers.
Yep.
I've had to sit through so many of those.
Love you, Sammy.
Also because I was a dance teacher. And I'm like, crap, I did this to myself. Why? Why do I hate myself?
Yeah.
But this was fun to revisit. I hadn't watched this in a while. Like, I'm with you, Jake. If it's on like cable or something, or satellite as I'm flipping the channels on a Saturday, if it's on, I'll
satellite. Who still has satellite?
I like the Pac-12 network. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it. Live sports is what keeps people connected to cable and satellite. I totally understand.
If they get their act together one of these days and actually will like stream stuff, then yes, I would cut it. But I gotta have my Utes.
All right, fine. I will allow it.
But
that was a close call. I was afraid she wasn't going to. You have to give up your satellite.
The hedge clippers and just cuts the game.
No, our satellite dish. No. It's just gone. Val's driving off. It's dragging behind her car. Sparks flying everywhere.
She'll be like the large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, just.
I was gonna say something and make you feel really bad about that comment, but I'm not gonna.
I just left the conversation. I just didn't want to participate when he came out with that comment. I was like, nope.
It's aight.
I love you.
Yep.
I have this image of you laughing maniacally as you haul off my satellite dish. That's anyway.
One of these days.
Again, a small glimpse into what this brain does.
Oh man.
I'm really thinking like I wish we would have talked about this movie earlier so we could go to Craig and say, look, Fan X is still this many weeks away. Have Tracy and Troy recast this movie with Muppets instead of Glengarry Glen Ross, and you'll have people that will come just for that.
I think we could still tell him. I don't think Fan X cares what movie they recast.
I don't know if he's put it in the description or not.
That's easily changed.
Well, and he just put together this huge slideshow.
Yep.
I forgot how really good at his job he is.
He's really good at setting up all the graphics and the timing. It's going to be fun, though. I'm excited to see it live in front of an audience because this is how he envisioned it.
Yeah,
I know
what he originally thought of, and then COVID happened, so we had to modify it and do it online. But we've all been on the show; it's a blast.
Yeah,
I enjoy the format of the show quite a bit, and I enjoy recasting. He picks interesting movies every now and then for me to recast.
I think he does that on purpose.
I know. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun, and it's going to be fun for us to talk about Black Widow. I mean, a different kind of fun than we've had today on the show, I think. But it's still going to be a lot of fun.
More serious.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll still have fun and talk about fun things, but we're going to deep dive into some things that you probably wouldn't think that you're going to talk about, but I think it'll be really good for people to talk about some of that stuff.
Now, real quick, Jake, I can only see part of your screen. Is this the life sucking machine? Is that scene?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
is.
this hose flickering, and I thought that's what that is. That's sucking the life out of him.
It's where he takes the first year off.
That's right.
And he tells him to be brutally honest. It is for science. So yeah, this movie is just really, really one of my favorites of all time. And it's hard to even try to look at it critically. And which, I don't have to, because I'm not a movie critic. I'm just a guy who talks about movies on a podcast. So I don't have to be super critical.
You're not a member of the Utah Film Association.
Which, by the way, congrats on that, Val. We haven't talked about that on the show. Huge deal.
Huge news.
I feel a little bit legitimate now. Like, not like I'm just pretending.
But that is a big deal, because
that's huge.
It's got to be voted in, and that.
Yeah, and I really respect like all the people that are members of the Utah Film Critics Association. Like I have watched them for years. I've been in the same screenings as them for years, and I read all of their reviews, and so it was really it felt really neat for them to vote me in, because I feel like I still have a lot to do to kind of get to their level, but I'm super excited.
But yeah, major props to you for that.
Thanks.
Well, and that's a lot of hard work that went into that and behind that. And so congratulations.
Thank you,
Val. That's very cool.
That film degree's paying off.
I don't have a film degree.
Oh.
I didn't finish.
My film degree is not paying off.
It's all right. My history degree is really coming in handy as I manage my call center. It's fine. Oh, the places you'll go.
All about following your passions and working hard, people.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And
that's not being dicks to people.
Exactly. Yep. You can still climb up the ladder without having to kick other people down. So, and you do that, and props to you for that.
I think we all do it. I mean, I think we all have moments because we're human, but
sure. But
it's like you said earlier in the show is like, or in our episode last week about, Karate Kid is, Cobra Kai, you really want them to redeem themselves when they're learning about the things that maybe they are not doing correctly. And I feel like, I've made mistakes in my life, and I've been a jerk to people before, but I feel like when I realize I'm doing it, I always try and learn from that and try and be better. And so I think maybe that's why I don't watch that show either, is just because like that's not my jam.
Yeah. I mean, if you like Cobra Kai, that's fine. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of people that are really excited because a lot of the stars are coming to FanX.
Well, and they're great on their own, like outside of Cobra Kai, they're great actors. So that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably grade this movie. I did go first last week for the first time, I think, ever on the show.
Was a big deal.
So I think I can go another 118 episodes without going first again. So,
okay, Tracy, you're up, man.
All right. So again, this is one that I have a hard time removing the nostalgia, but even without that nostalgia, I think it still holds up. It's cleverly written. It's perfectly cast. I'm going to give this one a solid A.
Yeah, it's an A for me.
Yeah, we can add this to our collection of AAA rated movies. I would even almost bump this up to an A+ for me, just because I enjoy it that much. I can't find anything wrong with this movie, and I'm sure there is. I just can't find it. So
sometimes the only reason it's not an A+ for me is because sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it. But it's nothing to do with the movie. It's more to do with me. You know what I mean? Like,
and I can totally see that.
But yeah, I think it's a great movie. It holds up. I don't need to watch it all the time, but like anytime I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's such a great movie. I don't always need to turn it on, but yeah, it's a solid A. Like,
yeah. I don't need to turn it on either. I've seen it enough times I can relive the scenes just in my head. I just sit there like this. And my kids just think I'm weird, and it's fine. They think I'm weird anyway.
You are
weird. So it's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
My daughter tells me that all the time. She's turning 13 this week, and she tells me all the time that I'm weird.
It's a compliment.
She smiles when she says it, so I think it's out of love.
I've been calling my daughter a weirdo for her whole life. It's out of love.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Well, this week we will be at FanX. We will be talking about the Black Widow all together, but we also have a bunch of panels that we're doing on our own. So please get the FanX app, download it, look up our names, Jake Dietz, Tracy Mangum, Valerie Cameron. You can find our schedules there, and we would love to see you. Again, if you...
Our schedules online.
Yeah.
We'll post it on... I'll post it on our social media sites as well.
A great MASH panel.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one with Steph, who was on our live episode last week talking about her sexual awakening. So I can't wait to hear what she's going to talk about in MASH.
Klinger caused her sexual awakening, maybe.
I'll ask her. I'll ask the hard-hitting questions like that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's what a good moderator does.
Yeah, but but it's going to be a lot of fun. So get the app, check it out. Again, I said it last week. If you want to see us at FanX and you don't see us, I feel like that's on you because we are everywhere. So, but we look forward to seeing people there. And you can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter at Movies Make Us there, and on YouTube, youtube.com/movies that make us, basically in all the places. So, until next time, we won't see you at the movies.
Bye.
This has been a Stolen Droids Media production.